Connection, comedy, courage. Those are the three words that I have on my website to describe what it's like to work with me as a motivational speaker, speechwriter, and public speaking coach. And never have then those three words become more clear to me than during this stay at home order. And maybe you have experienced those too. And not only in our business life and in what we're trying to do online with our businesses, but also in our personal life. And this has become really clear to me because I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, Eleanor, and Eleanor's life has been reduced to Zoom calls. Everyone she loves, from her aunts and uncles and best friends and grandma and grandpa, is on a Zoom. And of course, what's a 3-year-old to do when she's tired of Zooming? You call up to connect with her and she runs away from the camera. So I knew I had to come up with some way to connect with my granddaughter in a way that would keep her interested. And that's when the comedy and courage came into play. So reflecting back on the years that I had little kids, I remembered one of our favorite things to do was to make paper bag puppets. And that is when I introduced Eleanor to Honey the Bunny. Now, Honey the Bunny was a story I told right around Easter. And Honey the Bunny was going to go on an Easter egg hunt with Eleanor. And my husband and I hid eggs around the house. And then we introduced my husband's puppet. It's a little worse for wear, but this is George the robot. And George the robot loves to eat Easter eggs. So George would, with Eleanor's help, would find the Easter eggs around the house and then gobble them up. And she would giggle and laugh and giggle and laugh. And that was our first story with the paper bag puppets. And with our feeble attempts at creating, art. So we decided that this might work, and we heard from my son and daughter-in-law that Eleanor couldn't stop talking about finding Easter eggs and George the robot. So we did that again another day, and then she wanted to know if we could introduce a tiger. And that's when I created Tata the tiger. Poor Tata has been around the block a few times and lost an eye, but Tata the tiger was very well received too. And then the final one that we added to the mix was a story that I used to tell my granddaughter when I got to put her to bed at night. I would always make up a story and then also read her one of her favorite books. And the story I made up was about Pete the pickle, who would hide out in the fridge and he'd hear someone coming and he would hope that they wouldn't pick him. And Eleanor would be involved in the story because she got to tell Pete the pickle to hide behind the peanut butter jar so that they wouldn't pick him. And then afterwards, Pete the pickle would do the pickle dance. So I introduced Pete the pickle, and at the end, Pete the pickle would dance. This has become one of her favorites, and if I do read a storybook to her, Pete the pickle joins us. So what have I learned from this experience? That you don't have to be an artist to create a connection. You don't have to do it perfectly. And my husband and I had so much fun creating these puppets and making Eleanor laugh out loud. And once again, I was excited to have the experience of hearing the feedback of laughter fill the room and make a connection with my daughter. So it starts with courage, a little bit of comedy, and you get some great connections.